Now, listen to me carefully. I'm going to be talking about the Elliott wave count in this video. My signals correctly predicted with the 4-hour chart and validating it here that we are going to get a bounce. Told you, I don't know how big the bounce is going to be. It could either be a feeble bounce and you can get another leg down, which is what I think it's going to be, or you can get a bigger bounce and we can start a larger counter trend right here, right now. Be showing you both of those, presenting both of those cases to you in this video. So make sure you watch the video all the way through. If you want to know what's going on, watch the video all the way through. If you want to be clueless, oblivious to what's going on, well, then don't watch the video all the way through. And again, I've got about 3 Moon Boy videos that you can watch if you want to be completely clueless to what's going on. Some of my favorite Moon Boys. We got the bullish diversions in the 4-hour time frame. I got all these bottoming signals. I shared that with you the last time. Now, the bars are confirming changing colors. But I told you it may be only one of these right here, where I got a confirming signal. The bar changed, but it was just a counter trend, and we reverted back to bearish bars. We got a bearish signal that followed that, and we went down and made a new low. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, again, I'll show you the charts. I could be completely wrong. We may have bottomed here. We may be starting a larger counter trend right now. I don't think so, but I'm going to show you and present to you both sides, and you can make up your own mind and see what you think. So watch the video all the way through. I think my bars are going to revert back to bearish. I think I'm going to get a sell signal here in the very near future, and I think you're going to end up forming a bullish falling wedge. I think, again, the trend line coming in here could be in play, or if we tighten it up, you're right near those levels, right closer to them or a little bit higher. But I think you're going to end up getting a more feeble rally. My personal opinion, I could be completely wrong, but you can see my signals nailed it again, calling the bottom, just as back when everybody was telling us, the Moon Boys, telling us it's a breakout. I told you again, I had topping signals and that we were going to be going down, and I told you we were likely going down to 100,000, 20% drop. Like we did back with the last government shutdown. Talked about that in a video, made a whole video about that. Told you I thought we'd get this 10% rally, 10.5% rally, and then drop 20%. Well, we've dropped 18% after just over a 10.5% rally. So I was correct again. Personally, I believe that this signal that is formed right here is nothing more than a counter trend bounce. I think it's going to be a more feeble bounce myself. But if it's a bigger bounce, I'll show you the Fibonacci so you can make up your own mind. Personally, I think we're going down to the 100,000 for a wave 5. I think this is wave 4. Watch the video all the way through and you'll see what I mean. Show you that. I think these signals aren't going to last much longer. But like I said, my signals, short-term signals here, turning back to bullish. Bottoming signals formed. Doesn't tell me how big the bounce will be. My guess is it's going to be feeble rather than huge. Again, I told you we have the bullish diversions. We have these bottoming signals, just like we had the topping signals back at the top. Again, told you we were going to get a bounce. That doesn't mean we bottomed and we're going to new highs. It just means a bounce. I think it's going to be a feeble bounce. I could be completely wrong, but I have the guts to tell you what I think. I think it's going to be a feeble bounce, and we're going to go hit the 50-week moving average. Just my personal belief. If all my trending signals turn back to bullish, we can get a bigger rebound right now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you've got to bounce something price like what we have over here, a counter trend rebound, maybe something a little bit bigger, and then I think you're going to dump down to a new low. Watch the video all the way through and you'll understand why I think that. I wanted to let you know the bars turned back bullish. Can they remain that way and we get a bigger move? Chaos says it's not going to be able to remain that way. I think we're going to revert back to bearish bars. I think we're going to revert back down. See signals turn back to bearish, and I think you're going to end up forming a bullish falling wedge at lower levels near the 100,000 areas I've been calling for since back up at the top there. And here we've hit, so far, 103,000. I don't think we're done yet. I think we're getting close for a bigger bounce. I think once we're done, I think you're going to go back up to test the highs for a lower high, maybe towards 120,000 area. Now, my signals correctly validated the diversions. I told you we were going to get a bounce with the diversions, and then I saw my signals turn back to bullish. They were correct. We're rallying back up, but as you can see, my signals, which are correct, remain bearish. Personally, I don't think we're going to turn them back to bullish. I believe you're going to get another leg down, and I think that you could see something like what we had happen back at some of these turning points up here where you got multiple warning signals. I think you'll drop and you'll get another warning signal or two, and I think you'll end up going down to that 100,000 area. I think you'll form a bullish falling wedge, and then I think you'll see my signals turn back to bullish, and I think we'll move back towards 116 to 120,000 or so. My personal opinion, I'm telling you exactly what I think. I could be wrong, change my mind if things change. Personally, that's what I think right now. I think you're going to get another leg down. I think this will be a feeble bounce. I could be wrong. It could be a more powerful bounce and change my signals back to bullish. If it is, then you've got your counter trend, and I'll present that scenario to you in this video. You got your larger counter trend going on right now. My guess is you're getting a 5-leg push down, and I think this is wave 4, and I think you're going to get wave 5, and you're going to get another dump down, and then I think you're going to bottom out around 100,000. Personally, that's what I think is going to happen. The signals nailed the top. Signals nailed this bounce. The signals continue to be correct. The signals told me we're going to get it validated. The bounce on the 4-hour chart doesn't tell me if it's going to be a big bounce or a small bounce. Personally, I think it's a small bounce. I'll show you what happens if I'm wrong and it's a bigger bounce. Get the counter trend right here, right now. Personally, I think we're going to get another leg down and hit the 50-week moving average. Just my personal opinion. If we change my trending signals back to bullish, you can get the bigger move right here, right now. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Bitcoin trending signals are going to remain bearish. As you can see, the red here on this chart, my signals, which are correct, remain bearish, but they did nail this bounce here as I correctly predicted. I still have longer term trending signals that are telling me that we very well may not have a bottom. So I think it is a bounce. I think we're back testing the trend line here. And then I think you're going to come down here and test this 98,000 level of horizontal support, Bitcoin's average price, and the 50-week moving average. I think you're going to get another dump here down into this area. And then I think you're going to get a bigger move coming back up to back test the trend line from the April low to the late September low. And I think you're going to go up towards the 120,000 level. That's what I think is going to happen. But no bottoming signal here. So again, I think we've got a bounce. I think it's going to be a feeble bounce myself. I'll show you what happens if I'm wrong. These warning signs of a bottom, they were confirmed. We're getting the bounce. I think it's going to be a feeble bounce. If my signals start turning back to bullish, you can get a larger counter trend right here and now. I think you're going to get a feeble bounce and go down and hit the 50-week moving average. Watch the video all the way through and you'll see. Please support the channel with the link directly below. If you like the indicators, if you like the charts, let me know that by supporting the channel. I don't have any sponsors, just a direct relationship with you. Follow the link below. You can donate any amount you want. I want to send you to some exchange who wants to get you all leveraged up to wipe you out. Just ask that you partner with me and support the channel and then get sponsors and sell you a bunch of stuff and send you to exchanges that don't have your best interest. Please support the channel today. Thank you. And I'll show you the Elliott wave counts. Watch the video all the way through. Do yourself a favor. Now, Bitcoin is getting the bounce I warned you about. The 4-hour chart nails it yet again. The 4-hour chart, correct. And then my signals validated the 4-hour chart, the diversions right here. I've been using these divergences to call every single turn on Bitcoin. The tops up here and here in September, the bottoms down here, and then right now. The signals continue to be correct. I told you, though, when the diversions formed, as it was under construction and finishing, I told you, again, I don't know if we'll get a feeble bounce or a big bounce. I don't know the future. I'm a trader. I look at support and resistance levels. I was able to call the top correctly because I looked at resistance. I've called every single top here. We slammed into resistance in July, August, and then again October, and nailed days of those tops based on the trend lines in the weekly time frame. Now, failed to reach it here. I told you I may be wrong about that peak, and we still may go back up and hit it, but I told you there's no requirement that we do, and we ended up topping on October 6th, and I told you I had the topping signals, and they ended up being correct because I have good indicators. Now, I told you up there 2 weeks ago, again, there's a very good chance we have a top. I personally believe that we're topping. I think Bitcoin has likely topped. I think the 4-year cycle is intact. I think that the 4-year cycle played out. I went through, if you didn't watch my 4-year cycle video, I went through it in great length and detail a week ago, explaining the 4-year cycles. You got the halving cycle, you got the 4-year cycle, everything pointing, the lows to the highs, the bottoms to the tops to the tops, all pointing to a Bitcoin 4-year cycle completing in October, and we peaked October 6th. So I think you've got a Bitcoin top. Personally, I think we're moving into recession. Open-minded to the bullish case going forward. If the bulls can step up to the plate and bounce off the 50-week moving average. I've talked about this on every single video since the top. And again, I'm telling you what has to happen to confirm a bear market. That would get me extremely bearish. Right now, I believe we've topped, so I'm turning long-term bearish. Right now, signals have turned back to short-term bullish. Telling me we're going to get a bounce. My signals are right again. I think that, again, Bitcoin is likely topped. We do not confirm a bear market, and we go back up here and we clear the resistance at 126,000. My weekly signals all turn back to bullish. Then, hey, we'll turn extremely bullish, believing we go to the Fibonacci extension levels up to much, much higher levels. But I believe that is becoming less and less likely now based on what I've been talking about, the 4-year cycle, based on turning off of resistance, based on my weekly signals now turning bearish. We're bullish back up here, but now they're turning bearish as we turn off of this level. I've warned you over and over and over, there could be a top there. I told you I'm leaning towards that based on the 4-year cycle. I told you that up at the top, I told you last week, and I'm telling you now, and I continue to say it over and over again. And, I'm saying this because I'm telling you, we're going to get a bounce. People only hear what they want to hear. Oh, you're bullish again. Had some guy tell me, sell-off's over, and I'm so bullish now. That's not what I said. A bounce is a bounce. A bounce is not sell-off's over. Bounce isn't we go make new highs. A bounce is a bounce. A counter-trend rally. Now, it may be a big rally, it may be a feeble rally. I do not know. I'm going to show you in this video what will happen if it's a feeble rally. I will show you what will happen if it's a big rally, assuming that we have topped, which I personally believe we have. But if we have not, we will not confirm a bear market by closing below the 50-week moving average and confirming it, and we will not continue a decline. We will bottom out and we will go up and we will clear resistance. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we've topped. I have the guts to tell you what I think. Why? Because I see evidence now. I'm seeing evidence of a potential top. I'm open-minded. That doesn't mean I'm flip-flopping. Oh, I'm saying we're going to be bullish. Oh, I'm telling you I'm bullish. Oh, no, I'm bearish. I'm telling you I think we've topped. I will present to you both the bullish and bearish case because both are still possible. We have not yet confirmed a bear market. If I am presented with evidence that the advance is going to resume, I will change my mind. But right now, I've seen enough evidence that I think we've topped. But I'm still going to present to you the bullish case because we haven't confirmed a bear market. I'm not going to present you, once we confirm a bear market, I'm not going to present to you the bullish case because we're in a bear market. My videos, you know how to confirm a bear market. Nevertheless, I digress. This right here is the 4-hour chart. It's been knowing the tops and bottoms. I've been calling every single top and bottom with it. Here we have a potential top now, okay? But I think is likely an ending diagonal for Bitcoin. Go to you on the daily chart. But if we've topped right here, I think you have two possibilities. And I've talked about this divergence giving us a bounce. Could be a feeble bounce. It could be a big bounce. And I'm going to show you what will determine that. And I think that's whether the count is done. Now, I've told you that personally, I think in the weekly time frame, I think we're going to hit the 50-week moving average before we get a bigger bounce. I think we're going to get this bounce here, and then we're going to go down and hit the 50-week moving average. Now, it could play out another way. We could rally here, back and hit that later. And I'm going to show you both scenarios. Again, I have the guts to tell you what I think. Now, I could be wrong, and I'll show you both scenarios, and you can decide what you think. Regardless, I think we've topped right here with this negative divergence and these trend lines that I've talked about, major reversal off of these trend lines. And if we close below that 50-week, as I've talked about, you're going to confirm a bear market, close below it, and then open and close below it the following week. Watch my last video for that. 50 weeks around the 102,000. This is yesterday's data. I haven't updated it yet, but it's around the 102,000 area. I think you're going to end up dropping below it, go to 101, 100,000, something like that, end up bottoming out. If we've bottomed, then you could get a bigger rally first and then come back to this level. My guess is that's not going to be the case, but I could be completely wrong if the momentum and my signals, which are correct, remain bullish. My signals revert back to bearish, then you're likely going back to the 50-period moving average, as I'm expecting here in the weekly time frame. So let's keep that in mind with what I'm about to share with you. Here's the 4-hour chart that's been knowing the turns. We predicted that we would get a bounce. We're getting it, okay? And I don't know how big it will be. If it is a smaller bounce, if we bounce for a day or two or three or whatever, and we come up here and we stall here at the 50, or we stall up here at the 200-period moving average, then you can come back down and again complete a 5-leg push lower for our first impulse move lower. Now, I've marked this as a 1. Let me just clear this real fast. I've marked it as a 1 here, a 2. Let me change color so you can see it a little bit better. A 1, let me go thicker here. A 1, a 2, this whole thing as a 3. Now you're getting a 4, and then you're going to come down and you're going to get a 5. And then you're going to bottom around 100,000, 101,000 or something like that, probably just under the 50-week moving average, currently at 102. Then you're going to come back up and you're going to get an A and a B and a C, and you're going to come back up to test this high, and you're going to get your counter trend move for a lower high. And that's going to give you your wave 1, probably the intermediate wave 1, and intermediate wave 2. It can unfold in a couple of different ways, and I've got these other smaller wave counts, these smaller subwaves marked here. But if we have peaked, and again here I've marked this as 1, 2, and then this as an extended wave 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is what I think going to get us down to that 50-week moving average. I think this is a 4, and then I think you're going to sell off and get one more push down, maybe into that trend line, maybe into horizontal support level at 98,000. This is what I think's happening. So I think you've got the wave 1, the wave 2, this is wave 3. I think you're getting 4, and I think you're about to get 5, and then I think that you're going to get this big rally back up. If this is a more feeble rally, then my count idea of testing the 50-week moving average sooner rather than later, this count is very, very likely. This is what I think is going on. And then I think you'll get a bottom there, and then I think you're going to either rally up, and if we bottom out, I've marked it here at the mid 100,000 area, right around the mid 100,000 area. If we rally back up, you're moving back towards 116,000, or you're moving back towards 120,000 in all likelihood if you rally back up to get an ABC. So I think you're probably going to move to the 50-week moving average. You're going to bounce there, and the herd, the moon boys are going to go, it's a bottom. Remember those guys that told us we had a breakout back up at the top when it was a fake out? Those guys that told us the sell-off was never, ever going to happen. And here we've dropped, nearly 18% here, as my signals correctly warned of, and I predicted that we would get a rally with the government shutdown of 10.5%. We did, and then sell off 20% down to 100,000. Oh, gee, we're down 18%. Signals right again, moon boys wrong again, as usual. Everything's a bottom to these guys. They never see the tops. Again, I really don't care which way Bitcoin goes, up or down. I'm a trader. I go long, I go short. I really don't care. Right now, I think you've got likely a top. If we close below the 50-week moving average, we'll confirm a bear market, and I'll get very bearish. If we bounce there, you can clear resistance. Then I'm going to get very, very bullish if we can clear resistance. I doubt you're going to be able to do it. I think you're going to get a bounce off the 50-week. I think you're going to come down here, and I think you're going to hit it, and they're going to go, we're hitting the 50-week moving average. And they told us we were never moving back towards it, which I did tell you, again, with the government shutdown and back up at the top, all the warning signs. And I told you, I've talked about the 100,000 area. Laughed at, I was mocked and told what a a fool I was for daring to believe something, but yet the indicator's right again. The moon boy's wrong again. I think it's going to be deceptive. I think we're going to come down here. I think we're going to get this final fifth wave lower. If I'm right about this wave count, it might be done. And we might go higher right now if the count is done. I'll show you another way to count it. But if I'm right, and this is wave 4, so we have minor wave 1, minor wave 2, this whole thing's minor wave 3. Now you're getting minor wave 4, and then you get minor wave 5. And then you bottom out around the 100,000, 101,000 area or something around that range. You get your big ABC, and it's going to be very deceptive. The boys are going to convince everybody that the bottom is in, the bottom that they told us never going to happen because they told us there was a breakout up here. Yeah, it's amazing. Nobody ever calls them on this stuff. Remember, after the big liquidation move, then they told us we had a bottom. I told you that's not a bottom. We're still going lower. Oh, gee, I was right. And I still think we're going lower here. We may get the bigger bounce right now. I doubt it. I think you're going lower right now. I think this is going to be a more feeble bounce, and then I think you're going to go lower, and then I think you're going to get the bigger bounce. But I'm going to show you both because either scenario is possible. And here they told us again, oh, the bottom's in, off's over. And we still went lower, like the Powell rally back over here. Jackson Hole. They told us, here we go. They told us we had a breakout back over here. And hey, here we go, Powell. He's going to cut rates. And we went the other direction as I warned. These people are clueless to what is going on. If we do confirm a bear market, they're going to wipe out a lot of people just like they did the last bear market. People riding this thing all the way down. I think you're going to get your wave 5. Okay, I think that's likely going to be the case, and I think you're going to get your ABC move. I think it's going to be very deceptive. I think you're going to come up here in between the 61-point Fibonacci, between 116,000, 120,000. That could change depending on how low we go. I'm just estimating around the mid 100,000 area, but I think you're going to come back to 116, 120. Maybe you can overthrow the 78.6 Fibonacci, and then again, you're going to come back down and likely take out the 50-week moving average. I think you're getting a wave 1 and a wave 2, and then I think you're going to get the wave 3, and I think Bitcoin's going to collapse once we get a bounce off the 50. This is the way I'm telling you I think it's going to play out. That's speculation on my part. I'm speculating on this wave count playing out. This is what I'm speculating and thinking happens. It may play out differently. I do not know the future. I'm just a trader. I'm just like you. I'm just a trader, and I look at support and resistance. I look at indicators. I'm just a trader that has better indicators than anybody else walking the face of the planet. So I have a little bit of an advantage, but again, this is speculation on my part. I'm going to show you if I'm wrong about this wave 5 being here and this completing what I think will be a bullish falling wedge. I think we're going to end up terminating, and look right here. We're coming to this trend line right now. Let me just draw that straighter. I think you're going to end up forming a bullish falling wedge type of a pattern here. And again, there's still a little bit of wiggle room to go higher. And again, this trend line could change, but this is what I think is going to happen. By the way, Bitcoin is just now starting. We had a rally, and Bitcoin is just now starting the Tuesday session, and Bitcoin rallied as the signals correctly predicted that it would. So now says we've got wave 4 going on, we're going to get wave 5, and then we're going to get a bigger ABC move, a bounce off of the 50-week moving average. I think that is going to likely be the scenario. Let me bring this up close so you can look at it up close. And again, I think you got wave 1 here. I think you got wave 2. I think this whole thing's a 3. I think you're getting a 4 here. Maybe it goes a little higher, and then I think you got your 5 down in here towards 100,000. Maybe this trend line marks the bottom. And then I think you get your A, B, and C up. So that's what I think is going to happen. And then I think Bitcoin is going to collapse below the 50-week moving average. And I think it's going to end up moving down to 25,000. If Bitcoin drops, if 126,000, I think the minimum objective target is 25,000. The bear markets for Bitcoin are 80 or 90%. Last bear market was 78%, just shy of 80. But if Bitcoin drops approximately 80%, you're going to 25,000. I think Bitcoin's going to 25,000 at least. You're going to have a recession, and you're going to have a bear market with the stock market. Bitcoin could go, to one of the bigger bear markets we've had, 93%, 86%, 84%. But a ballpark figure is around 80% or 25,000 if our top holds here. So we're going to be watching. So here it is up close. Now let me just show you alternative scenario, and here's the golden pocket right here. I think we come down here, and then I think again 116 to 120,000, that range in there, and it could change. I'm just guesstimating of where we might go to about the mid 100,000 area. Anyway, I think you'll see my signals which are correct, my signals that continue to nail it. I think you'll see a multiple point divergence develop. I think you'll end up seeing the RSI come back down and form another divergence here in the coming days ahead. And then I think you'll see this attempted recovery. This assumes that we get another leg down. This assumes that we try to bounce surrounding our 50-week moving average, which I've talked about in great length and detail. If you watch these videos, you know that I'm expecting a bounce surrounding the 50-week moving average. Let's look at the alternative scenario. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe we're bottoming here and we get the bigger move right here and now. I don't think so. I think you get another push down right now. And I think that this will be the wave 5 to complete what I believe 5 minor waves to complete intermediate wave 1. And then I think you'll come up here and you'll get your ABC for intermediate wave 2. If Bitcoin doesn't get a feeble bounce, but it gets a much bigger bounce right now, then we may try to move, getting the larger counter trend right here, right now, with our bottoming tails that we got here in the 4-hour time frame. Now here, this is my alternative Elliott wave count. This count says we've got minor wave 1, minor wave 2, 3, liquidation move is number 3, 4, and 5, and it's now done. Whereas the other count, I marked it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and wave 3 completing here. Here I've marked it wave 5 completing here, and this whole thing being intermediate wave 1. And we're now already starting wave A, you're going to get wave B, and you're going to get wave C up here in the golden pocket, or maybe the 78.6 Fibonacci, or even overthrow it. So that's what I think is going on here. And let me move this over again a little bit. I didn't quite get that there. And again, this is what I think is likely going on, is that we have 5-leg push lower taking place. Whether it's done here or whether it's done with my other count, either count is possible. Personally, I have the guts to always tell you what I think, and personally, I think that this count right here is wrong. I think that the other count will be correct, and that we'll get this feeble bounce, and it's going to be followed by one more push down, and then you're going to get your ABC move back up. So that's what I think is likely going to be the case. But I want to show you this alternative. This is my alternative count here. And again, both of these counts assume that we've topped, that we're starting our first 5-leg push lower. It is likely our first intermediate wave down for wave 1, and then we'll get a bounce for wave 2. I think we're going to that 50-week moving average. I could be completely wrong. Again, my signals, short-term signals, have turned back to bullish, correctly predicting this bounce. If they remain bullish and we start seeing all the trending signals turn back to bullish, then you're coming up here, right now. If the trending signals remain bearish and we just get the shorter-term scalping signals, turning bearish, and then they revert right back to they turn bullish and then they revert back to bearish, then you get that next wave down, that wave 5. So that's what I think is happening. If Bitcoin just rallies up to the broken trend line, which it's now done, remember down here I told you we're going to rally back up to this broken trend line, this black trend line right here, and you got a shot at a bullish falling wedge, and you can come back down, and I think you'll have wave 5 there. When you do, and then I think you're going to bounce surrounding the 50-week moving average. Let me just bring up Bitcoin's average price right here. I think you'll end up coming down here, dropping below Bitcoin's average price, coming back to it, or just right below it, probably hitting this trend line right here and bottoming out. That's what I think is going to happen. And then I think you're going to break out of the bullish falling wedge, and then boys right now are telling us, oh, here we go. And when we drop back down, then they'll dash all of the herd's hopes once again, and then down here, then they'll go, oh, we're hitting the 50, here we go. You'll probably get back above that trend line, and again, move to the 116 to 120,000 area if we get a move to the golden pocket, which I think is likely. And so again, what are we doing? We're rallying up to the 10 period and the trend line Told you to be watching this area, just under or near the 112,000 area. We were just under it, this horizontal area of resistance. So again, doing exactly what I told you it would do. So this is what I think is going to happen. I think we're in backtest mode. I think we'll end up getting a more feeble rally, but if I am completely wrong about that, you're going to get above the trend line and you might start a bigger Fibonacci retracement right here, right now. If we bottomed, I don't think we have. Just my personal opinion. I always have the guts to tell you what I think, but I could be completely wrong. If my signals, my trending signals all begin to turn back to bullish, then you can get a bigger move right now. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I think we're moving to the 50 period moving average. And again, the trend line I just showed you in the daily time frame, going back over here, you broke this trend line here in the weekly time frame. So you've done technical damage. Now you're back testing it, but you could try to bounce surrounding that 50-week moving average. My personal opinion, that's what I think we'll do. If we zoom out, we look at the daily chart. This is the wave count, but I think is likely in play. I think we've likely peaked here. And on my other charting program, that's a 5 with the circle. They different counts on this platform, this charting program here. So again, regardless, I think the 5-leg push is done. We've broken the trend line from the April low, and I think you're coming back down again, either to this trend line or the 50-week moving average. Bitcoin's average price just below there. I think you're coming down probably just under these levels, maybe all the way to the trend line right here, right now. Maybe not. We'll see. Again, that would break the 98,000 area horizontal support if we did do that. That would break 90. Whoops, I got it too high there. Let me go in lower. I've got 98,000 horizontal support, and if we break that, you might come down as low as a trend line. That's possible. My guess is you're going to try to bounce surrounding that 100,000 area. So again, we'll see if we do, more technical damage and get a bigger drop. I think if we come down, then I think you're going to make a move to come back and back test this trend line right here. You see that trend line that broke from the April low to our low there? I think in late September there. Again, that trend line broke. So again, the trend line over here broke. So you broke some trend lines. I think you're going to get back above this trend line, and I think you're going to come back and back test this trend line, and I think that comes to 120,000. And I think you're going to come back up, and I think that's going to give you your ABC move. So just my personal opinion, what I think is going to happen. If we close below the 50-week moving average right here now, then maybe you confirm a bull market, and I can be a bear market. Maybe you confirm a bear market immediately, and I'm completely wrong, and you hold below the 50-week moving average. I think you're going to bounce off the 50-week. I think it's going to deceive a lot of people, believing, here we go. And I think you're going to end up coming back up to this trend line, back up to the golden pocket, end up breaking it, end up going to it and getting a lower high. And then I think you're going to come back and take out the 50-week and eventually take out this trend line. That's what I think is going to happen. Again, I could change my opinion as time goes along. The Fibonacci levels are not set in stone. We haven't bottomed, in my opinion, yet. I'm telling you roughly, giving you a thumbnail sketch of what I think is going to happen. I think we've topped. Resistance would change my opinion. If I'm wrong about a bottom around the 50 and a bounce for a counter trend, you take out the 50, you confirm your bear market, then change my opinion. I think you're going to bounce off the 50 and it's going to deceive a lot of people. That's what I think is going to happen. You'll get a big rebound back up, and I think the people that never saw the sell-off coming, they're going to be like, you bears, you guys are a bunch of, you're a bunch of Neanderthals. And we'll get a lower high, and then I think the bottom's going to fall out of Bitcoin. If we've topped, which again, I'm open-minded to either scenario playing out. I really don't care which way Bitcoin goes. I'll tell you what I think. It's my opinion. But if we've topped, this is my count here. I think you're going back to that 50. You're going to bounce around it. You're going to go back up. You're going to come down here. And I think you're going to end up rebounding back up and then get that lower high. And then I think you're going to come down and you're going to see Bitcoin collapse. Firm a bear market, which I think we're going to. I think Bitcoin's going to at least 25,000, if not lower. Oh, that's an unpopular thing to say.